Good afternoon, wonderful ladies. We are back here again with our second Power Pack session. And this is me, Swpna, and with me I have Dhivya Sriram, President VWC, and Rajnickant sir and Harini. So I will now hand it over to Divya. So Divya, over to you, and please go ahead.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are back with yet another personality with us on the coffee meet of Visionary Women's Circle today. Visionary Women's Circle is an ecosystem that is created exclusively and for elite premium women entrepreneurs who can foster a community of women entrepreneurs that can voice for vocal for global, taking businesses and women to global businesses. It is with great honor and immense pleasure that I extend a heartfelt welcome to each of you in this distinguished gathering, where we have the privilege of hosting an eminent personality, a stalwart in the realms of finance, commodity market, central banking, policy maker, and a corporate strategy maker. Today, in our midst, we are graced by the illustrious presence of Mr. Rajnickant Patel, former MD and CEO of Bombay Stock Exchange, BNP Paribas, and many more. A luminary whose name resonates across the financial corridors, symbolizing wisdom, experience, and unparalleled expertise. With a career spanning over 35 years, he has been a driving force in shaping the very foundation of the financial world. From the Bombay Stock Exchange to mentoring and advisor to various communities to policy making, central banking, commodity markets, Sir has left an indelible mark, contributing significantly to the growth and evolution of these crucial sectors. The visionary leadership, astute decision making, and unwavering commitment have not only shaped organizations but also have influenced the trajectory of the financial landscape. His insights and guidance have been instrumental in navigating complex economic terrains, guiding policies, and fostering growth in an ever changing global financial ecosystem. His wealth of knowledge and experience stands as a beacon of inspiration for aspiring professionals and seasoned veterans alike. I extend our deepest gratitude to you, sir. Please welcome. Your contributions to the financial world are immeasurable, and we are honored to have you here to share your unparalleled expertise with us today.
Wow. Thank you, Divya, for such a long and elaborate tribute.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm just an ordinary, reasonable man, nothing more. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure, ladies, to interact with you today. And the very fact of this word, visionary women entrepreneur, I think that speaks a lot in itself. That entrepreneurship is actually a way of life for has been for in ancient times for us. Whether we look at the Silk Route or anything else, an Indian community, we have always been trading, we have always been entrepreneur, and that now in the modern world, our business leaders have actually shown that we can be anywhere else and we can be same. So the whole purpose of bringing in a new dimension of women entrepreneur is what I think is the sunrise field, because it's always been there. Stree, as we say, is always been the homemaker, the um, power and the Shakti behind the Shiva. But in the modern world, we traditionally it has been a male dominated space, and we are actually now discovering the power, the real Shakti. So, of course, as I was sharing with them that everybody likes to give lecture, but nobody likes to listen to the lecture. So I'm not into that. In fact, with two visionary women entrepreneurs having there been here with me, I think we can start with discussion with them what is their journey, and during the as we go into the discussion we'll try to ferret out a way forward. There are solutions, the approach uh, following from the actual live journey, and that would be much more beneficial to every one of you who would actually can resonate and see that this is what we face every day. So why don't we start with you, Divya?
So my questions would be to you: what are the important aspects do you think in a business decides the financial contingencies, and how do we overcome it? Like for any business, like we had in our previous session about business brand visibility and all of it, the journey of a brand as it is. So when we talk about the journey, how do you think the financial segment plays in the rise and fall of a business?
Okay, that's a very, very pertinent question, because finance is a lifeblood of business. If you don't have finance, if you don't have access to money, I think most of the dreams will not materialize. But then, how do you make it happen? Because after all, that's the most scarce resource, and it's the most needed ingredient for a successful business entrepreneur. So there are different strata, different levels. One could be, you can say, a startup where somebody is just starting up with a little bit of own and friends and families resources and starting up an idea, implementing and going forward. Then that idea actually fructifies and then it becomes a business, running business. Then we reach a middle level where we have established ourselves, our concept, our product delivery, service delivery, and then we know that we can manage. Now the question is how to take it to the next level. Can you expand that to a different level so that we reach to a very wide audience and increase our reach? So that's where main issue of ability to implement those plans comes, and that one of the most important part would be a finance. How do we actually have a financial uh, availability and as a resource, and how do we utilize it? Then comes the large scale, which is basically when you have already crossed the second hurdle and actually kind of broken through the glass and glass ceiling, and then actually you implementing that whatever was conceptualized, executed, proven, and now we take it to a larger scale and take it to the whole world or a whole nation or a whole state, whatever we want to aim for. So these three different levels have a different ways of the money is to be sourced, the money is to be utilized, and it has to be used as a productive asset. In the initial level, when we start generally as a bootstrap, and we try to fund our own entrepreneur with our own money and resources from the friends and family, and then we need money. So there, the caution is how do you balance our big ambition, and that always happens when you are starting. How do you balance our ambition to be big with the practical aspect of putting in place all the infrastructure? And that's where conservative, practical approach is the key. The success will depend when we can balance properly that when we want to go to the moon, we need to put our feet on the ground. And that's what for a startup. Sometimes, in my career advising the startup, I do find that over enthusiasm is very, very prevalent. People feel that we have got an idea and that idea is worth millions of dollars or crores of rupees, and then we get focused on to the valuation and the money rather than on delivery. So that's a fatal mistake because 90% of the startups fail there because they get carried away with the idea, and then you always look at the big picture, but you actually stumble upon on your practicalities. So that's where caution is required, conservatism is required. Of course, enthusiasm and your outward approach is of course very much. But when it comes to practicality, I think we should value the rupee.
Right.
That is very important, and that value of rupee we have to see that from each rupee what is the value we get. So EFM, that is the approach, and therefore be very, very grounded, be very, very focused on to what you are, your capabilities, what your execution capabilities, and then try to deliver. delivering, as they say, proof of the pudding is in eating, delivering your proof of concept and then making it work. Now, on a strategic part, uh, whenever we start at the beginning, we come with an idea. But the issue is, are we solving any existing problem? The key of success is, are we selling what we believe is needed, or are we responding and creating a solution for an existing problem? And it's very very crucial to identify the problem and then bring the solution. It may be for the same problem we may have three different solutions. Fine, three people will try to solve it that way, but what USP our solution there, how do we actually make it work, that if this solution is implemented, accepted, and tried out, your problem will be solved. And that approach, that vision is very important.
What is the why?
What is the why, and what also?
What?
What are you offering
Right.
for that why? So that is very important. And once you are through that, I think most of your work is done because you have identified your tribe, your client, you understood their problem, their issue. Because we want to solve the issue, and if your solution is accepted, success follows.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like simply, if there is a person who is purely vegetarian, and you say, "I have a fish which is so tasty, so protein filled," it's selling to the, I mean, wrong audience.
Yeah,
You cannot,
absolutely.
and you can never have.
You
You may have the,
cannot vouch for it.
and you cannot say you must have met the best of the product, but you are attaining a wrong target.
Correct.
So you need to identify a target, and you have to identify the right problem, right issue, and then come with a solution. Then the acceptance becomes natural. And what we want to grow as a startup is acceptance. That's very important. Once you get accepted by the client, by the target, then your credibility is built, your brand image is built, and that is where your issue of having adequate funding starts getting resolved. Because once you've done it, you've proven it, then you have people who would actually watch with you. They will see what you have been able to achieve, what you have been able to prove, and think through what is your vision. And if investors, whether they are angel, VC, or anybody, they look at your vision and your execution strategy. Because in a early stage, there are two things which is important. One is what is your idea. The second is what your capability of executing. You may have a best of the idea, but if you are not able to execute, then I mean, idea remains idea. Nothing can be proved. So that is where the finance comes in. And once you get adequate funding, because you have proven yourself, your concept, and you have delivered shown the execution capability. Okay, that time maybe you are not 100% executed everything, but then that is what you do, and you can actually do it. Now let's see, go to the middle, which is where most of the people would be around, that you have crossed that initial threshold, and then you're going through the issue. What happened by the time, what is actually when you call yourself that you have come out of the startup stage and you are now into a midway of being a good entrepreneur? What is that? How do you say that you are now arrived?
So, we have identified the market and reach whom we have to reach, as that was a question. So we know that which place we should. It is your product needy product or a niche product, that also you have identified. You know the market. You know, like you have got an idea like where to sell, what to do. Now, when we come to that stage, where to use the funds and where to approach for the finance, also the question comes.
Okay.
So that's where it is stuck. Like now we have used all our money. We have come to we know that we are getting enough. But if we are spending this, then we are blank. Like
Okay.
there is no we don't know when we are taking the new step to go ahead. We don't know how the circumstances come in, and next what to do, whether to do it or not to do. We are confident that we put in the money, we know that it will come in return, but we don't have the exact time the return comes. Basically what you put in, the returns have to be in particular, like we know that we are putting it for 3 months, the returns should be in this particular time. We don't have that kind of clarity in that, that we will be able to achieve this much money in sure we will get in return in this particular time period of time. If there is a gap, then what are the things that we have to, keep it as a secondary
You
option
mean
for
like a plan B or a backup plan?
both?
Actually, you have answered your own question, frankly.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. You started with a question that okay, you have done something and you have come up with, and you are talking of return. Okay, and you say you want to spend money, but I don't understand what to do. See, these are the questions which every entrepreneur should be asking themselves. That what is it? Okay, I have come up with it. But I have made it. Because by the time you have done that first phase of journey, you have established your execution,
Yes.
you establish your product, you identify your plan. Already you have done that. Now the next way is that you have started doing whatever you are marketing, selling, whatever you are doing implementation, that you are already started doing. So now there is a flow backward, offload returns. You have started getting traction, you are able to sell or whatever service, and you are getting now by the time your cost structures are also fine. Most of the time, within 3 4 years, you would have finalized your overheads, your fixed costs, all those things will come. So now, one hand, and this is a little bit of accounting, but you got to do that. Is that one hand you know, this is my cost, this much money is gone in. This is how much am I top line. This is my other revenues or other things, and this is my net profit before tax, VAT, PBT, whatever. This is what I'm getting. So you as an entrepreneur should have a clear understanding that what is the margin you are making. Are you running into loss? Are you making only thin margin? What you are working on a 1%, 2%, or are you making too much margin like 50%, or are you making reasonable? Now that will depend on product and service. Of course, that's a very complex thing. But in your industry, but you know your product, you know your service, and then you know that what is best way because you have to plan for in the middle expansion. That suppose today you have 3 offices, tomorrow you want to have 30 offices. You are going to need money, infrastructure, and you are going to need human power and all those team. So all that cost, you have to do a very thorough cash flow forecasting. Once you do that, you will know year on year, month on month, quarter on quarter, I'm going to spend that much. And this is probably going to be my target for revenue. And this is what I'm going to get. Now, this is X, that is Y. So Y minus X should give you some sort of Y. Now, whether that is able to take care of your expenses, your profitability. Also, you have done some borrowing of a car, or you want to return your friends and this is doing exit. So, how are you doing? Are you a sustainable business? Because there are two things. One is, of course, we can always come out with a different series of investment, keep on increasing the value. People come
Right.
into and they pay, and then you give an exit. That's one part. That's only investment. But as a business entity, are you sustainable? Are you able to, if this is the money only coming from the business, can you sustain for 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 year? If
Absolutely.
the same level of income, can you do that? Now that is where your efficiency of
Right.
managing your execution comes. That if you have two people doing the same job, your standardization, your SOPs, this is where come very big. It is very important when you are in the middle layer. Your standardization, your processes, your systems, or everything should be very well defined, and you have to make investment into that so that that actually gives you a return. It is not only the profit which comes from sales. Your internal efficiency, internal accrual is very important, and we need to rely more on that to be a sustainable business. Now that brings me to the point that we are talking about ESG, and I think you can share something so that we can discuss on because that's relevant. That's why I'm bringing it over here.
Yes, it is very important once you identify the path that you're going to go. When you have a set of goals, now we break it down, maybe quarter wise. or an annual wise you have to break it down. Now, for in my sector, when we were into the manufacturing sector, we keep expanding in terms of identifying new potential market for exports. Now, if I'm saying that is my USP, that Indian make Atmanirbhar products can reach global, where I can compete with my competitors' quality in terms of pricing, in terms of quality, in terms of my certifications, because everything that we do goes into a flammable and explosive segment. So now, what are the parameters that we need? Now we need Indian certifications. We are associated with the Petroleum Explosives and Ministry of India, who licenses every product. That is a huge,
process.
credibility. The
Yeah.
process is also huge, and the credibility also plays an important role. Now, for markets, say for instance, for European markets.
Yeah.
Now, what are their requirements?
Yeah.
So we do a market study. So what are the competitor pricing that is happening existing? What can we offer? Do we have a margin over there? Do we have a return on investment? Your question, how? But it is a calculated risk that we take. It may succeed. It may have a backfiring effect. But come what may, it would be a learning experience still for us. So now what we do is we suppose we want to enter into a European market. Now, what is the certifications that we require? Now they say CE marking is required, and ATEX or a PED certification is a global standard that is required for our products. So we study on that. Now, what are we eligible to get that? What is the cost associated with that? So we once the eligibility process is checked, now what is the next process? How do we obtain it? What are the certification agencies are there? Can we contact them? So being a brand player for 53 years, we are well known in the market in the first place. And the second point is our products are already exported in 13 other countries. Now, since this is going to be the 14th country, it is not going to pose a big
That much of a challenge.
challenge for us. Now, all the groundwork has already been experienced. It is done the parameters checking. So now we are going to be in the process of maybe getting our ATEX and PED certification, so that the European market sort of opens up for us. So the costing for an Indian product might not be a greater challenge as it is for the European competitors per se. But these are the, steps that we look into. Now, what next, and how do we go about navigating each of this? Now, what next? So if that is over, then we identify more players, maybe a distributor or maybe a dealer once we have established our market. Or for another, out of the box question, maybe I can answer that in 2014-15, wanted to start exporting. The company did not have any export experiences before that, although it's a 42-year-old brand. So when we wanted to export, we wanted to identify the place. Now, where do we target audience?
Yeah.
So we identified that South Africa might be a good market because our products, they were using conversion oils and fuel oils. A very very engineering perspective. So when we wanted to bring in LPG as a green solution for them, we created a market. We created a demand as it is. So that was the first country of export. So we started visiting. These are investment costs, the visiting, the reaching out to people, talking about it, pitching in about your company, about the USPs of your companies. And for me, USPs also is integrated very closely with your ethics and principles that the brand value objectifies itself to be. So people were willing to collaborate with us. So it was it was a journey of its own. I can say. I hope I did
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
that question.
See, that
Yeah.
is very
Yeah,
important.
very clear.
That what you're going to do,
Yeah.
you're thinking that. So we related back to the starting vision. What
Right.
is it that where you want to reach? Now those sort of things which will not be available anywhere else. It has to come from within, and it has to be relevant to the environment and minute world, like your product or your service. Now she's shared her journey about the specific
Right.
product, which is oil, gas, and oil. Now, one important aspect is creation of a market. It is not necessary that the market exists. Sometimes, a very famous story which gets as a case study, like in most of our towns, yeah, 30 years ago, uh, cities and metros were less, so most of the population was in rural. Now, you tell me, as a rural woman, will you spend 500 rupees on a shampoo? It is not that their income levels were there for
Yeah.
30, 40 years. Now, Hindustan Unilever came with a sachet, 1 rupee sachet, shampoo sachet.
Right.
Now, it changed the game.
Correct.
Uh,
It created a market where none existed. Nobody could think that a village woman staying in a small house would be spending 200 rupees on a bottle of a shampoo. And there is no shampoo available otherwise. Now, 1 rupee or a 2 rupee sachet was very much possible.
Right.
And it was use and throw. And that actually led to a habit.
uh,
It changed the habit, it changed the hygiene also. Like women started, okay, now we let us use shampoo. Now that really raised their standard and made available certain things which were actually earlier for elites.
uh,
Only moneyed people who use shampoo, otherwise no. Now it expanded, and if you see India's basic pyramid is very wide. We have 1.4 billion people. So from that, it is suddenly giving you a market which never existed, which nobody could think, and you created it by creatively designing and understanding the market. You see, when she was talking about creating a market that for her product. Now, the whole thing, idea can come only when you do a research in terms of understanding the market and understanding the market need. Now, Hindustan Unilever did that. They identified a new category of a market, and they said, okay, what can sell here? And they created. Similarly, another story is about Nirma. Lux and other, those
uh,
were the main, that was again Hindustan Liver's product, Surf Excel and whatever. Now, Nirma came in, a small industry.
yeah.
It was a cottage industry. Like in that factory, they were mixing the washing powder by hand,
Right.
and they created, and they did what HUL did for a shampoo. They did them to surface. Same story, and they bought so cheap, and they made it look. That became a brand because everybody was not able to afford.
The surface.
So then they created. So we can, there is no doubt of a market. It's what you require is a creative understanding and finding a particular solution to the market. You can create a market. Now, another example. I'm sharing this
Yeah.
we can actually realize. Kellogg. Now,
Kellogg's.
Kellogg's cornflakes. Now, they have been making companies making losses for many years because cornflakes is a new concept for us Indians. Like if you look at South, it was idli. In Gujarat, it was another thing. It was paratha and more, and it was an alien concept having early morning having a cornflakes and a milk. But they kept on doing that, marketing it, spending money, creating a new, like they said, Iron Shakti. They created, they targeted school children. That is a marketing strategy. And then they created, so that now today you will see even at least 20% of the home. If
Absolutely.
breakfast run means this,
Easy to
Easy.
use,
easy to use,
especially for
convenience,
working women.
convenience. So in metro, almost it is converted, and our own traditional, uh, habit has been reformed.
Right.
How many of us really make idli in the morning? Unless you stay in a joint family
Yeah, yeah.
and working couple, no.
They would.
And even if you make it now, you go to MTR ready-made or
Yeah,
something, those
yeah.
brands,
Absolutely.
and you just boil it and go. So this is what. So what is the USP now? When you want, I'm talking to the middle level, and you want to make a leap to the higher level of growth, then what is the USP? You are doing X. What is new which you are bringing? That innovative, that unique selling point has to be developed. You have to
Right.
create, you have to design your service, your
Correct.
product, taking that into mind and always focus on how I can improve the client life, not think that I can get more profit. If you think, then it's a short-sighted strategy. And particularly, I'm talking to you like this is a women entrepreneur. A mother never thinks about the child. That I'm making going to benefit it than the child. He always think my child should get the best. Now, customer, we should have that approach. The customer is there, and that's what we are here. So we are here to provide his need, and at the same time, you create something new market.
Right.
But the whole idea of any entrepreneur is that to service someone, to service the other person. And why do we service? Not because we can sell and make money. We can service it so that their need can be fulfilled. They can be helped. We can help them in developing, growing, getting better, whatever. And if he gets that benefit, he'll be stuck to us. He'll always have that trust. We believe in certain plants. This means this. Means good quality. We don't even think. We just blindly purchase that plant. Why? Because they have built that goodwill. They have that
Yes.
connect. That people should know. Oh, if I'm paying a little bit more, doesn't matter. I'm paying it for a trust, for a quality,
Right.
and people pay for trust. How you build yourself, and for you it should be. For I think for women it is very easy. Women build trust into others very easily. That is your actually DNA. To how to bring for man it would be little difficult to build that trust so easily. But for women it is the nature has given you that power.
Yeah.
So you can build that trust very easily. And as an entrepreneur, I think that should be your key USP. How do I service you? And how do I help you to go better? So you grow, I grow. And that should be the whole
Creating a win-win situation
for both.
for both.
And after all, there is no single transaction. Buy and sell happens when you need two parties. Otherwise, nothing happens. Nothing sells. You cannot sell everything to yourself.
Right.
So that is why it is important that we need to build that trust, and that can happen through your service delivery, through your quality control, through way you interact. Very simple thing. You may have done everything, but your salesman at the counter is very rude. Your reputation is gone. Or your call center, when somebody calls that I am in a problem or I want to understand, and they behave rudely or they say dismissively, come tomorrow, call this, call that. See, our approach should be we need to provide solution to whosoever comes.
Absolutely.
Not only post sell, even pre sell. Somebody comes and say then we have this many products, we can sell. No. What is it that you need? You need this. You have come to purchase a TV. Okay, but what is your family size? Where you want to keep it? So what is your room size? If you tell us, then okay, come to the demonstration. This is a big TV. So if you stay there, that is what you get. Now, if you have that, that person may not buy immediately a TV, but then he will always remember. So he may want to buy something else. He will come, and he will say, okay, because here these people are not only trying to push,
Right.
buy. This is very good. So they are saying, try to understand your need. And this is very important if you are into service delivery, service product, service industry. Then this is very important because your services are always, even though it is standard, it should be very, very specifically explained to the client, to the customer that okay, this is what we have. It's a standard service, but this is what it helps you. This is how it helps you. I think this approach really creates a win-win situation. And then your finance, coming back to finance, there are two ways. Again, as I said, one is that internal approval. If you establish that sort of a connectivity, your sales will grow, your revenue will grow, and your finance need will be self. You can be a self. There are certain big companies who do not raise debt. They are debt-free company. They say we will from our own resources will manage, and they keep on doing that. And because they do it that way, the market and everybody else understands and respect them. Here's one person, one company which okay doesn't depend on somebody else's. And they are so confident. You can do that only when you are confident about your service, your efficiencies, your product, your SOPs, so that we can deliver. Now, if you want to grow, definitely you need fund. Otherwise, you cannot. Internal accrual will take you to X only. They will not take you to Z or something. So, you need to raise fund. Now there are we come to this specific, like if you have come already into SME kind of segment, then the way is to go to SME listing, go an IPO, and increase the reach, increase your ability to deliver more and deliver expand. Now for that, it's important to be yourself ready. It's not that you might be making um, crores of rupees as a profit. But are you ready to be listed? Because you see, listing not only is giving you access to free capital, risk capital, but it is also putting you into the microscope of people. Everybody is going to analyze, and you will be responsible. The most important aspect to understand here from the regulator's perspective, from the market perspective, and even from investor perspective, is that once you come on a listing, you need to remember that you are responsible and you are answerable. It is no longer your company where you will say, okay, I say this, so
Correct.
no, you will be saying because we are taking money from somebody, and that money is not only money, it is a trust. If
Understood.
somebody is subscribed to your company, he is subscribing based not only on that you promise him I'll give you double your capital. Never go for fall for that. But he is doing that, he or she is doing that because they believe in you. They believe in your ability to deliver what you promise, to take the business to the next level. So they investor will think, yeah, here is one company, here is one entrepreneur who will actually she will promise and she will deliver and she will take the whole thing to the next. So therefore, they will not only expand, even my value will go up, and I will also benefit from there. So today they need money. I give them money and they will deliver that. They will execute much properly, efficiently, and profitably so that they grow. So I'm part of a journey. See, SME investors is not only that, of course, every investor expects return, ROI, and whatever. That's there. But there are people who would actually come to you, particularly in SME, for what you are, what you can deliver, and what you can offer on a big listed companies, it is okay. They may look at the micro market prices and say, okay, yesterday it was 100, today it is 120, so maybe I buy it, tomorrow it will be 150. There, it's a pure return. But here it is participation, and that's the basic concept we need to understand, and that's why it is very risky to go into a rush into SME IPOs without understanding and developing their readiness, that mindset, that ability to respond, the ability to be responsible, to be amenable to listen, and the most important thing, to be open about your ownership. Normally, it is my business, so I feel it is my business, and I will do it. What do you know? You are an outsider. It's generally that way. And if you want to grow big, you have to understand that others also can give you valuable input. And if they do it, we open that ownership should remain, but the possessiveness should be a little more
Toned down.
tempered. And this is where yeah, any SME going for an IPO ready stage is actually should be taken as a process, to be taken as a mindset and training, learning and development, and it should be done properly. Because SME is not your ultimate thing. You want that to go to a next board, go to main board listing, and you want to grow and keep the company growing and create valuation for everybody. Now, for that, you have to begin within, and you need to get. So, important thing is to for that journey. First of all, there are certain requirements which will have to be ready for prepared. And the second thing is you need to get a good mentor or advisor or consultant who can actually make you ready not only in terms of compliances, which of course you will be doing a business so you know, but also to prepare you and your management team and your other team to be ready for the next leap, because that's the next step.
It's
And
going to be a giant leap, in fact.
yes, because from top to bottom, it's not only that the management or chairman or the board or the promoter has to be there. your down below, your people, everybody from beyond to president has to have that ability that now I'm coming in the public. Now I'm no longer having my setup over here. I'm
Right.
going into all India level, national level setup. So I'm known. I'm going to be known for the entire nation. So I have to be different in terms of interaction. I have to be different in terms of even my own production, my own service delivery. That how do I deliver, how do I produce, how efficient I am. All those things will have to have a change. So it's not only compliances in terms of accounts and all other like SEBI and other regulatory.
Right.
It is also more about the mindset. It is,
Absolutely.
and that soft issue is the key driver, frankly speaking. Because compliance is anybody can do. Any chartered accountant can come and guide you, or any accountant can help you out. But who will give you the proper guidance in terms of what your next step should be, how your journey should progress, and that's where you go. So that is, I think, should be built into your plan of going for SME. And same thing, if you are an SME, you got to go to main board. That also again is a next level. That also requires a lot more change in terms of attitude, understanding, responsiveness, all sort of things. Because there is a whole lot of other compliances which come, and not only about compliance, it's also the responsibility of, like, suppose you get listed on a main board, and then say 10 lakh people invest. Now you become responsible suddenly day one. That 10 lakh subscriber, so they become your stakeholder owner.
Right.
They become a shareholder, and they become, in a way, they are owners. It may have one share, but the direction is on, and owner is an owner. So we need to honor the owner. That is what we need to do. So we have to get into that sort of a mindset, and I think that is why, as they say, uh, without guru there is no way forward. That is why we got to take that, keep that all together. So, particularly, I mean, what I want to interact with, particularly the women entrepreneurs, what is one thing, forget about the finance and the business, because that we have spoken, but what is one or few things, say four things, which plays on your mind as you are a businesswoman, a business entrepreneur, and that is other than the business? Tell me. So what is that one thing which bothers you, or as we popularly say, what keeps the CEO awake at night? I would like to modify that. What keeps the women entrepreneur CEO awake at night? What is it? What keeps you? What per- what keeps you kind of tense and that? Okay, I'm doing business, so business, all those issues will be similar for a man or a woman. What is a different challenge which you face?
What difference I can make in this industry?
Okay.
Uh, Now, the last 9 years, if I have to say, I have been voicing out on a lot of things. Like we all began by discussing that it is a male-dominated business, especially the oil and gas segment in India, as it is a male-dominated business. So for me, the initial vision that I had was to make a mark for myself without having the support of any of my family members, especially the
Be
men.
independent.
To be independent, to be an independent woman who can make her own choices, decisions, and strategies that can drive the business as it is. Now, that part I feel I have sort of
You've done it.
done it,
Been there, done that.
been there, done that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
now, for me, it's like, what can I do next? Now, my agenda is to bring in more women into this engineering business.
Okay.
It could be an engineering role, or it could be an admin role, it could be a financial role, or it could be, I mean, I would even I had women in R&D department developing new valves for us. So for me, that is now what my passion is all about right now. This space, I can say. Now, how can I add value to these women as an employer? And then how can we enrich the business landscape with these women's talents?
Now that we are into visionary women entrepreneurs, so that brings us to an issue of a role model. Now, one of the things which, even in any other scenario, we say that, okay, who is your role? Then we say, okay, this is the role model, and then we try to take inspiration from it. when we talk of particular visionary women entrepreneur, what kind of women role models do you have? Or do you feel there is a lack of adequate visionary or otherwise women role model for women entrepreneurs? Do you feel that okay, like one of if you see there you can list out 100 men role model. Do you have the same thing in women? That is where lacking. Is it, or do you feel that it's okay? I have enough role models.
Like for instance, when we were discussing with MMB for the list of women to be, be invited, I felt that I was also part of this curiosity, like, how many inspirational women are there? So there were a very handful of women in the key positions, holding key positions. Now, if you ask me who my inspiration would be, I can very clearly jot down three people. One, Mrs. Nirmala Sitaraman, from her entire transformation of from what she was to where she is at the moment. The second one will be Sudha Murthy, that she can reach from where to. I mean, she's got an amazing reach as it is in her selected field. And then the third one would be Indra Nui, how these inspirational women have managed their family, their work, and still managed to scale up in their businesses. What are the strategies? What are the transformations they did to themselves? In an interview of Indra Nooyi, I saw that she said it's okay to cry. If there are some situations that is posing as a very frustrative situation inside your cabins also, it's okay. Just tell the staff to close the door for 15 minutes, shed out, and then put your makeup and come back. So I believe in that one line that says, whatever happens, get up, show up, and never give up. So I think I would be able to summarize these three leaders who's been an inspiration for me.
Like talking about Indranui, one of the, I think in a book or somewhere, she said that when she had done a big business meeting and she came home and her mother-in-law said, okay, that, that is all okay, but do this. Now, how do you face that? Do you face that sort of a situation? How do you handle that?
As you
Correct.
said, we have to be prepared. When you go for SME, they'll ask you everything.
Yeah.
Where you have to leave, like that possessiveness towards yourself. I think that will help you in coming across all this kind of experience. Whatever you are, when you come home, you know what situation you
What
have
is
to
waiting?
face.
Yeah. I think this is very safe.
But
When we talk,
still, sir, can we have the leverage of, putting us across at our home also, where we can be a role model to our children and even our spouse, if they are
Yeah,
willing to
yeah.
see it.
They
ah,
may
but
not
this is
be
very,
expressive. I feel that many of the times they are not expressive. That you are our role model, but at times
tell me
they
one thing.
definitely
Their
express that. I
How
actions
feel.
many
speak
times?
louder than words.
How many times your husband made coffee for
No, I don't say that, but I have noticed that he really admires and on certain things. So even my children, how they like at times they say today what we are because of you. And I tell my mother also, she was not an entrepreneur, she was just a homemaker. But today, whatever I am, I look up to her. Because of her, I am there. So I think it may not be said and told, but it is the feeling that which is expressive because everybody cannot express and say that. But it is a touch that we
that?
get from the
That's
home,
that's
I feel.
that's
Uh,
true. You see, but I think this is one
we are the
concept
role
we need to
model.
change. What we say. Let us not say that our parents or mothers were just a homemaker. Homemaker itself is an entrepreneurship.
Yes,
I
yes.
think there is nothing bigger entrepreneurship than
That is.
that
Yes.
because the kind of, you said you had a strike and you said the other issues, all sort of things. But imagine the issues where mother faces every day,
Yeah.
and therefore it is very important, and this is very important when you are a women entrepreneur. When you come home from your office, you see there are two things. One, you leave your CEO tag over there or a tag at home and come home as a normal either mother or a daughter-in-law or a wife or whatever that role you play. That's what easier said than done. It's
Yes.
and it should know why should it be? Be there applicable to only women. A man doesn't leave his CEO job at home. He carries it, and he says, "Okay, I'm thinking about, or I'm talking on phone, or I'm doing that." So, should that not be the same thing for the women also? It should be applicable, and that means what? That is a mindset, and which is why I was discussing it, that there is an inflection point now that people, as you said, people, whether it's your spouse or your in-laws or your children, they do respect you for what you are contributing, not only in terms of their family, but you're contributing in terms of the industry on the business. And that means you are contributing to the nation. You are part of, as a women entrepreneur, you are part of the GDP.
Exactly my point, sir.
So
We are driving.
like that.
Exactly.
And
Why
that is,
should be valued any less?
it should not be, and we should not also have that issue, when the
Yes.
whole idea is when you are changing age-old tradition. Initial changes are always difficult.
Yes.
They are always resisted
In the
because
grassroots level.
yeah, because nobody wants to come out of the comfort zone.
Absolutely.
It includes us also. We also don't want to come out of our comfort zone. So, but that thing is, you cannot really do miracle without your coming out of a comfort zone. You need to take that first step. Like
Correct.
you, all of you, both of you have taken that, and other listeners who are here, viewers, they have also done that, taken that first step. It was difficult. Must have been difficult, not only in terms of finance, but in terms of otherwise also. So we need to do that, take that step, and then keep on doing that and monitor. We need to monitor our progress vis-a-vis two tracks. It's like a train. You have a family track because it's part of your life, and you have a business track which is part of your profession. Now we need to see that our train should work on both. Otherwise, if you, I mean, do a little bit deviation, it will derail, and that's an additional burden on a woman. It is not the same thing there in the
For men.
for men probably. So that is what it is.
So there's a little bit of battery which is
Issue.
going to go low. So I
Okay.
have connected us on this
Sure, look,
as a backup.
I'm just keep it there. Yeah, that way it just. Okay. Yeah. So now one thing we are talking about role model. What other issues do you feel that could be a very relevant for women entrepreneurs? Or do you feel that it's almost similar and there is nothing else, which is basically same thing, like there is nothing new? Do you believe that there is something specific available,
Uh,
or
some
a scope
places
change?
the gender becomes a problem, while at
Exactly.
gender becomes a issue. Sometimes, even in certain businesses that I have witnessed, the women directors, the women in the family business, maybe, or even in the other business want to enter, maybe not entirely given the ownership of a position, of a key position, or maybe she's given a key position as a director but just exists merely on a rubber stamp. Then what value are we adding really? Or is she even being given an opportunity to flourish?
Very
Or
relevant.
are we waiting for an opportunity?
I know that is the big question. The question is now let's look at it because we are addressing the women entrepreneur. Suppose you were a promoter or director or chairman of and you are listed and you know that one independent women director has to be there. My question to you would be: will you appoint one independent director or will you appoint majority of the women as a director?
Maybe I would try to balance both the
Why
genders
balance? Tell me, Divya, why balance?
so
Why
that
not say that my company will, because I am a women entrepreneur, my company will have only women directors. Why?
absolutely good to have it.
Why? Okay. Now the question is, having said that, you can actually, I think this beginning have to be made by you people because you are the driver. You see, and then it's like that. You can stick to a pillar and say, no, pillar is not living. It doesn't happen. You are not living the pillar. Now our mindset change is very important.
Absolutely.
When we say, we think that okay, one will help you, we'll help you. But we don't go and say that if man so many years have been saying that okay, only man normal. They never said, but that actually became the reality. Now you are a women driver. All of you are women entrepreneurs. If you break that mold and say, okay, you have this WEDO and you have this all the association with you, say women and women. Can that not be the driving motive for the women entrepreneurs to involve maximum women, and for that create ability, capacity building initiatives. Suppose you are doing simple thing like you are supporting an artisan, hobby artisans. Now that artisans could be anywhere. But if you are taking that khadi cloth and then converting into designer suits or something and selling it. Now think about it as a women entrepreneur in that entire supply chain system. Can you get the maximum women in your distributor, your salesperson, your account person, can they be not women?
Yes, I have done that.
So
When I
that is
entered the business,
Hmm.
I was the only woman. In fact, when I entered the business, there was not even a washroom which is separate for women. There was not one chair, I can say. When I entered the business, they said, "Madam, ऊपर इतना सब फाइल्स है ना, अब नीचे सब उतारो, आपको जितने हाइट पे कुर्सी चाहिए उतने डाल के आप बैठ दो." So that was a kind of statement I began my entrepreneurial journey. It was an accident. It was not by choice that I became an entrepreneur. But then I said, okay, if that is the case, let me make the transformations. I'll make a chair and table for myself and I rightfully sit on top of it. So now today we have a concrete structure. We began with a shed. I was just the only women employee. Now we have an RCC structure which spans about 2 floors. And from just being the one woman, now I have about 9 to 11 women, including of housekeeping and other departments. We are 1/4 of the workforce.
Yeah, in the sense that is the way. Some industries or some services sector are amenable to get the maximum women power. Like hardcore engineering, maybe if you don't get the skill set,
Yes.
women don't.
That is
That
the
also
challenge.
we need to change. Because now we have a women pilot, we have women metro coach drivers
Yes.
and all sort of thing pilots. So taxi drivers we have in
Yes.
India, we have. I mean in Mumbai we have
Yes, we do have it.
even Kali Pili, black and
Yes.
yellow. So certain things we also, I think the best way for your visionary women's club or whatever thing would be, you should actually all of you put together should try to see help the capacity building for women, and particularly do it for the product you need in your needs. Like you are into say accounting software or a software, then you need software people. So maybe you can go and have that sort of a training program, identify college girls and others, and then try to bring that women into it. You are hardcore engineering, so maybe you will have a little bit more challenge.
Challenges are there
Yeah,
still.
but all your
The mindset
office,
is still a challenge, sir. To enter into an engineering industry, it's still a challenge.
yeah, like nurse is actually, you will find male nurses very less, only female, but engineering it's reverse. So we need to somehow break this taboos, and it's not going to happen just like that. It will have to be, this entire movement will have to be driven by you, basically women entrepreneurs, because you have the power, you have the position now, and you have the ability to grow your businesses and include women. So basically women centric inclusiveness and women centric entrepreneurship and skill enhancement, these are the points which should all together can come together, and then you can actually drive those sort of a change. It may be small,
Yes.
but the journey has to be begun somewhere.
Yes.
So we can do that. And I expect that with this kind of a visionary women entrepreneurs around here, you will think of take that back home and then try to see that you actually are able to make that change happen and change the mindset. So maybe 2 or 3 decades later, we might not be able to talking about women equal power and this. We will be just saying men and women we talk about in one breath. That would be a real contribution which this movement can actually deliver. That it has a big potential not only for each of you to develop your own business, but to take together the social cause the nationalistic cause and the gender equation cause to really do that.
To break the gender parity as it is, at
Yeah.
least in this generation.
And with you around, with all of
Right.
you around, then you have the capability to do that. Okay, if you are generally talking about something, then it is just a talk. Here you have the ability or opportunity to do that. That would be a great takeaway if you can do that.
Sir, on that note, I think we have our founder, WEDO and BWC, Ms. Kadambari Umapati, with
Hi,
us.
sir.
Hi, Kadambari, how are you?
Hello, sir. Actually, I missed this opportunity
You're
of
good.
being
You're
there,
good.
but while I was traveling, I was listening to you. I'm really eager to meet you directly. I have a couple of questions for you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it was very insightful when you spoke about USP and all of that. My question is, when most of us want to scale, today many women, unlike 8 years ago when I started WeDo, to now, we see a lot of women getting into the scale mindset. So, from you, what I wanted to understand was, in your journey, you would have definitely met a lot of businesses which actually scaled. You would have thought they will scale. Some would have scaled, some would have failed. So, certain pointers that we have to look at when we want to scale our business. Some
Okay.
pointers.
Okay, that's a good question and very relevant in any case. So, okay, let's see. Uh, when you want to scale up, let's first define what is scale up. Basically, at what level, from what level to what level. As we were very detailed, we have discussed about beginning about startup trying to scale up. That is one level of. Then the other thing is middle level, which is what we say that if the entrepreneurs which have actually come to some sort of a level and been in existence over 3 to 5 years, they can actually go scale up by listing on the SME platform. Accessing the capital market and then being there so that you can actually say that you have arrived at the level, and that branding is very important. Then the next level is to actually two ways. One is, of course, you can remain the SME and try to grow big and expand on a horizontal basis. And the second thing is, if you really want to go, then look at and enterprises below you, probably women entrepreneurs who are just doing ancillary businesses to you, and can you bring them together? Like, I'm not there may one is a mergers and acquisition, but other is also working as an associate and coming together as a relevant industry, like ancillary industries or
Strategic
ancillary
partnership.
services. Exactly. And then on it can happen in even in service industry. And then take them together so that you as a women entrepreneur business grows larger. You have to expand the base of pyramid by either organic growth or inorganic. And that is the way forward. And the next level is, of course, then from a SME platform, go to the big platform and then actually fulfill your dream of 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore industry and making it happen and do that. But the important thing would be, how do you look at your surrounding and how do you help together and work together for a big, because it's not one women kind of journey. You have to take together. So suppose you are into software industry, you actually have to look at what are the needs. You have needs, and then actually go down below and then try to help other women entrepreneurs to settle, so that together you have a business sense as well as you have a social sense, that you can have a social cause in terms of helping and growing the women entrepreneur community. We have, basically, you see, today we are around, the ratio is skewed in terms of men, less women. But the women is Shakti, Nari Shakti. So your less is more there. So I think you got to deliver that, and you need to use your platform and other your contacts and other things to really be all women entrepreneurs should come together on a national level and work together to help each other and grow the women entrepreneurs community and make it big and create an inclusive business growth, not only social cause, but inclusive business growth. I
Inclusive
mean, that is
business.
what
In fact, sir, from whatever you have mentioned right now, I would like to definitely share one example. Like, for example, you have Anil Engineering Divya with you. So,
Yeah.
as a part of being a part of the circle, most of her
Hmm.
corporate gifting is now consumed from inside the circle from other business women. So she makes it a point sitting together. In fact, Deepthi is here, Urja are there. So they are into bag manufacturing. Though they've started small scale, now this gives them an opening for them to actually make and get into a larger volume production. So I think we are already following that to a certain extent, but I do understand we should get into more depth and the inclusive growth and supportive growth, if that was exactly what you were meaning, sir.
I think that is right, and you have started on a good note, Kadamini. What I can visualize you being in a position to get all your women entrepreneurs together, and if you within your community, if you have women doing entrepreneurship, doing something which we can use in a for either in our business or in our day-to-day life, then we should create a community like what you have seen, cooperative structure kind of thing, not a cooperative, but say that you source your materials or your requirement from within your group. So
Yes,
if
we've
suppose
started doing
somebody's
that, sir.
yeah, suppose somebody is into software and they say we do accounting software. So maybe in all your women entrepreneurs which are there, you may actually give all your accounting software businesses or accounting work to outsource to that another women entrepreneur business. So the business grows, the other enterprise which is at a receiving, they grow, and same way we actually help each other, like
Help each other.
that way, having that sort of a network and having that sort of a capability. So like, see, suppose Divya makes one sort of a part, but suppose with Divya was making say scaffolding or some sort of others which may be used by in our own house construction, then we can actually buying it from others. We can actually say, okay, even if it is 1 rupee here or there, doesn't matter, but let us support and bring it from
As a
that my women and
collaborative product.
exactly. So
Beautiful,
that way
beautiful.
we can prove that, and that round robin can actually grow into a big thing. And as you expand your organization and you enroll more and more women entrepreneurs, and if you see there is a synergy, you should capitalize on that synergy. I think that is very important. The other thing is, what I would like to ask you to do from your WEDO or other platform is that start doing regular structured capacity building for not only for your members and other things, but also try to bring in other women and just expand your scope a little beyond entrepreneurship. There may be women who would actually be wanting to get into business or do something, or maybe they are doing your NGO work, social cause. In expand your network to bring them so that you grow your network, and then your internal consumption of services and goods actually increases. At the same time, you create a new opportunities, and when you do a brainstorming, something might come up and we might say, okay, I think within us we have a designer. So all the women, women wear all designers like all of you. So you can actually outsource this to her, and her business could be, you can have in like the branded Ritu Kumar kind of
Yeah,
designer coming out of your group,
female MD.
club. So I think
Point taken.
you should do that, and that is what working together. That is what helping and supporting women entrepreneurs to actually. Your credo should be make more women entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs.
Let
Definitely, sir.
everybody be micro level to big level, but let everybody make them entrepreneur. That should be your mission, I hope, and I'm
Definitely.
sure
Yes,
with
sir.
all of you around, you will take it forward, and therefore then maybe after a few years we will not be talking about gender bias and other things. We would have
Absolutely.
overcome that problem, and I think once we can deliver it, we would have done a human service to women as a women community, I think.
So we have another club, sir. In the club, this is our goal. Our club's main objective is collaborative marketing. So where we co-create products. So we
Okay.
co-create, like we have a designer, a doodle artist, and we have a bag owner. So both of them together pitch to corporates and create their corporate brand language in the bad creation, and we already have created such success stories, sir. So right now we
That's
are
very
looking
good.
at, we are reaching out.
Oh, great. Hmm.
Yeah. So
That,
main objective of Visionary Women Circle is, there is one crazy objective that we have. Usually over here we rave about taking a franchisee, an international franchisee of a Subway or a KFC. We wanted women owned brands to become global brands where they want to have a piece of us. So that is why we actually are here picking all your brains to learn more the man's perspective, the man's way of doing business, because women, as you rightly said, we are very emotional beings. But whereas when it comes to a man, he comes with a lot of killer instinct. So we want to have a combination of both, and that's why we really wanted to pick your brain out there, sir. So again, I have one.
yeah, tell me.
I
No,
have
no,
one more
women have
question.
a killer instinct. So don't just kill anybody.
We want to know. And
Yeah.
I have this. I think, can you throw more light on the SME IPO bids? That is the IPO, and especially raising capitals through public funds, because I'm still sure that many of us are not aware of how to create a roadmap. Even if we are a solopreneur today, what is that step by step that we need to focus to actually go and get capital, and also the disciplinary part and the regulatory, just a little bit of process which could get us there, sir.
There are one or two ideas which actually I would like to share before we think about the going into SME platform. The whole thing is one should be in existent. The entrepreneur should have been in existence. You can't take a new found company to on a SME platform. So you should also have a history of profitability, because that is also one of the requirements. So that is, there are few requirements as per the SME exchange. But the important thing I would say, as I was earlier also saying, is that your preparation to be ready for this entire IPO journey and SME journey. The other thing is that going on to SME platform actually needs a bit of a even financial capabilities. Not that you just list on SME platform to raise money. We need to have our internal approvals. We need to have certain. It is slightly little expensive and little complicated, and it also has a bit of a cost of compliance ongoing. So all those factors one need to consider before we jump onto the SME listing bandwagon, and one has to be realistic in terms of expectation management, because when you go on to the public listing domain, you should have your execution capabilities very well defined. You should know what is your profitability and how you can scale up the business. Now the whole idea is that you go into the SME listing. Why? Because you want fund for expansion and growth. And sometimes there is some kind of a temptation for the end use of fund. We might get some money, then we say, okay, we will burn this cash up into branding and creating marketing, and then the whole process of delivery on execution gets backseat. And that should not happen, because that's the caution. And that's very important, because your performance is always under public eye. It's visible and we are responsible. So that is that. And therefore it is, I think, you are doing a right kind of a discussion here. And maybe, should keep on doing this often, and try to find out people who are interested, and then create this sort of a resource pool. And then from the pool, you need to get right kind of people to take you through. See, there are people who will actually promise you something, that you can get so many hundreds of crores of IPO valuation, and then they will haphazardly, without putting you in place the SOPs, in place of the compliance attitude, the entire mindset, and you take it there, and then you go to the market with the kind of an expectation and nothing is left on the table. you see, market is very smart. Everybody in the market is smart, so they do realize that okay, you have not left anything for their growth, and then you are not. Then that thing won't last. So what
Yeah.
we should aim for is a sustainable, ever-growing kind of organizational listing, which actually says that okay, year on year you keep on expanding, you keep on growing, you keep on creating profitability for the business, sustainability for the business, and you also create value and wealth for the investors. Because when you grow, investors wealth grow. So that has to be there. So I would say it is the way forward, but I would like to caution the over ambitious people to be slightly be more practical in terms of going into this. And I cannot emphasize more, more than enough that you need, everybody needs kind of advice to go through, because mindset is very important. What How you present, how you make yourself compliant ready. And it's not a 1 month job. Somebody can say I can take you to list for 3 months. It doesn't happen. And it's not the right way. The right way
Yeah.
would be to go have a 1 year or plus thing, look at your back story, and then create yourself and make it ready so that you can actually fly. Just because you have taken 2 swimming lessons, you cannot jump into sea. That is the case. So that is
True,
what
true.
we need to actually
Very true.
be realistic about that.
So the why I asked you this question is, sir, most of the time still many people, not just women, many entrepreneurs think loans are the only way. And today, if you see the way the VC funding is,
Hmm.
so technically people are many entrepreneurship is in the race, but the possibility of financing your business, the options are not the exposure to options and awareness is not there.
No, that is true.
So
Whether it's a woman or a man, entrepreneurship. See, basically, as we were discussing early, there are ways and means of accessing the finance. One is, of course, the equity capital, which is basically it doesn't carry any cost, so it's a really risk capital available. But then there are other structured ways of raising capital as well, and also as a debt. So we need to look at both, depending on, and that's, it is one size does not fit all here. So it's very important to look at the individual business need, business potential, look at that, have an informed decision after doing all the analysis, which structure is good. See, even raising debt is not bad. If you have a good potential, you can easily repay. And the advantage of raising a debt is that you retain your ownership. You don't have to keep on diluting. Most of the
yes.
people actually expect a good valuation, and then they dilute themselves to minority, and then you regret that why did I do that. So a proper balanced approach to plain equity, structured capital, and debt should be the way forward. Bank finance itself is not a bad idea. It is actually very, very important when taking a working capital or raising a working capital term loan or a project loan. These are very good because the cost of carry is fixed, and it is you know everything is transparently available to you. You know your milestone when you are to pay how much. And so therefore it helps you in keeping your
Planning.
business cash flows and manage your business very well.
Even government is giving
Subsidies, yeah, government, yeah,
Grants.
they have a special schemes, government scheme. And not only that, it's even women, of course, and startup, these are two. But even for a business, if you are into some sort of a specific niche product, like suppose you in some of the state governments, if you are into agri or a sustainable agri or a organic agri product, they do give you some benefit. So every state has a different way. The idea is to understand the market, the available options, then vis-a-vis that, self-evaluate yourself whether you can actually carry that. Once you know that okay, I can easily carry that and I can deliver it, then the best other way is to really do a critical assessment of your execution capability. And that's a key, because whatever we may say and howsoever beautiful PPT we make and presentation we make, after all, it is the delivery. The proof of the
Delivery.
pudding is in eating. We may
Eating.
say we got we may say we got exert items, ingredients, but if we don't know how to make a pudding, nobody's going to like it. So that
End
is
of
very
it.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
it was so rightly put, especially about one size does not fit all. It's
yeah,
about the entrepreneur, the business idea, the roadmap, the environment, everything counts in the whole process. Is yes, sir. You were saying something.
yeah, that's the way forward. So it is like there is a certain bit of a standardization which is uniform and applicable. There are rules and there are regulations. In terms of compliances, we can say everything is almost standardized and unified, but at the same time, in terms of business, it is left to the each individual entrepreneur to not only take it forward to the next level, but also try to understand and have a recce of the market space and look at the way what are the opportunities available. And it is not necessarily that opportunity will be available to you only on your main business. It could be in the downstream or upstream. And the whole idea, which we can actually do, this is what the famous story I can cite is Amul. It's a backward forward integration done in a beautiful way on a commercial non-commercial kind of a cooperative basis. But if we can do that on a for-profit organization also, we'll be doing a human service to the social and particular to the women, and do a, as you just given me one or two examples, that way we should actually do that much more on a larger scale, so that at least to begin with some sort of a state-wise we can do that. And then you can do that and integrate all thing and have an integrated approach with an
Yes.
individual leadership. So you have a leader business into each segment. At the same time, on the top of it, there is a cloud which is basically an integrated, which may be just an NGO kind of a thing, or that sort of advisory council kind of a thing, and which can bring everybody together. So
That's
that way you can exploit the capabilities and the opportunities together.
yes, sir. So, in fact, I've asked my questions, but I have a final request to you, sir. We will not be leaving you like this. We will definitely be coming back to you with a lot of questions as and when, because we have a lot of amazing women and women products with us and services. So whenever we are stuck or whenever we feel we would require your help, I think we will definitely keep coming and troubling you, sir. And I want you to give us the permission right away for that.
This
So,
is what
yes.
I said. Now you have a killer instinct, and you have proven it. No,
So I'm
jokes
asking for
apart.
my women, not for me. So I'm
No,
ready
no.
to kill for
I'm
them.
also not talking. I'm not talking to you as a you, but I'm talking to you as a visionary women entrepreneurs. Part of that. No. Anyway, jokes apart. It would be a pleasure to be interacted and connected with you. And I think wishing you all the very best for your journey ahead, individually to each of one of you and collectively. And I would say that from a collective uh, effort, you can actually develop individual entrepreneurs, and that's so. Wish you all the very best, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So I think there are others waiting to ask you some questions. I'm not
Okay.
sure. So over to you, Divya. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Before we have one guest who's already wanting to know the bull story of BSE. So if that is something which you can share with us, because there was a comment come from one of the members. I can put that on
Yeah.
screen as well, and they wanted to know about the bull story of BSE.
They want to know the bull story.
Oh, acha. You want to know the? They want to know the bull story.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
Uh,
basically, we are all excited. All of you who don't know, the BSE's bull was the brainchild of Rajnickant sir. So that is the bull story we want to hear from you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. It goes to a long time ago when I was corporatizing and demutualizing and making a company for BSE into a BSE Limited. BSE, as you know, is a 150-year-old organization, and it is not a corporate entity. It was an association of persons. So, under the Government of India rules, it was supposed to be demutualized, and demutualization means separating the interests of the owner and the management. Basically, brokers were the owners, and the broker and the management was segregated in 2001, and then BSE was actually mandated by the government to become a limited company. So I converted BSE from AOP to limited company, and we actually created a nearly $1 billion value for the stakeholders of BSE. And that is the time when basically, if you see the market, BSE building is the most photographed building after Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is the most photographed. After that, BSE building is the most photographed building, and so it is an iconic. So when we were trying to look at co- making that into limited company, so I wanted to create something, add something unique to the whole building. So then I said, okay, let me get a bull place, just as you might have heard about the New York Bull outside the New York Stock Exchange. So I said, okay, BSE is the epitome of Indian capital market. So we actually commissioned that bull, and that bull statue is made of fully of a bronze, and it is so heavy that I had to take two cranes and on a Saturday night to close all the road, bring two cranes, lift it and put it in front of the BSE and install it into the BSE building. So that was the story, and then of course it was inaugurated by finance minister, and then it became a second icon. And now today, I think rather than BSE building, it is the BSE bull, which is the main focus area, and that's how it is. So that was a story. Then almost it became a symbol, and everybody started visiting, and now it is the most photographed. Anybody who comes to Bombay Stock Exchange actually tries to get a photograph click in front of. Yeah. Otherwise, your trip to the exchange is not complete, and that's a selfie is very, very important. So, in short, that's the story, and that's how actually it came to be known as the symbol of Indian capital market. And
Wow,
I'm happy that I was able to carry it off and create that historic legacy and the icon for the capital market. Thank you.
lovely. I think so. We are privileged to really today, have this opportunity to sit and have a conversation with you in person. So I think we, especially we three women, are really lucky because we still get a little more time with you here, and the others, of course, were seeing you online. So I think it's a great pleasure to have you. Over to you, Divya.
Yeah, over to you.
It was indeed a pleasure to have this coffee meet, real coffee meet. I think we all had coffees while we enjoyed our discussion. Throughout, I think it's been a very enriching discussion, as it is so many aspects we have touched upon, not just embarking the journey on a financial aspect or a financial service, rather the journey of a business, the journey of an entrepreneur as it is. We did touch upon, the gender aspects as well, and I'm sure that with backbone of men like Rajni sir, we will definitely break more barriers, shatter more glass ceilings, and make a gender inclusive business atmosphere where we all flourish with each other. Thank you so much, sir. It's an honor. It's an honor to listen to you and to take inspiration and draw strength and courage from the stories that you have shared with us. Thank you so much, Kadambari, for coming online. And I
Thank
really
you,
thank all the
Divya.
visionary women who are present here and also watching us from across different platforms. I hope you enjoyed this.
Yes. So, Divya, I think we should take a final comment from Sir as a wrap up for today before we wrap up. So, I mean, it's not enough listening to him, but then I
Can
want
we
to
take
hear
a
more.
screenshot also, Kadambari? I mean,
Yes. Yes, we
can the
can.
tech
So,
expert please do the screenshot as well?
I will do
Uh,
that. Yes.
are you there? You're not.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Divya, you come inside the screen a little more. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. I've got it. Sir, your final comments before we wrap up.
Thank- Yes, so your final comment.
Okay. I mean, always I believe that there should not be a final comment because that leaves
No,
scope
sir,
for
just
more.
for today, just to satisfy you that we don't have the killer instinct, just to satisfy you, we're
Any-
asking you this.
No, I mean, so I really enjoyed interacting with all of you, and particularly, I'm very happy to see that the visionary women entrepreneurs is the key which you guys are working on, and I'm very satisfied that you will. I'm sure that you will create that sort of a organization or an institution or a club or whatever you call it, so that we can together bring that gender bias, break that glass ceiling, and be there just like that, without anybody saying this is women or that is man. Ultimately our aim should be that rather than doing it through social cause, doing it through business enterprise, because I tell you that businesses and the finance levels everybody. It transcends everything. Mindsets actually get influenced if you are able to prove your worth as a financial expert, and I'm sure you guys have done it. And for that, I wish you all the very best, and looking forward to be working together with you for any other cause to do that. All the very best. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Divya, over to you.
Thank you, ladies. It was a wonderful meeting, and I hope in the upcoming month we will come back with one such interactive and enriching session. I'm so proud. Thank you, and have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.